Stocks are ripping, ripping, ripping. I hope you're paying attention. Today, I'm going to give you the watch list, everything you need to know going into next week. First, if you don't mind, smash that like button, click and subscribe if you haven't. Also, turning on those post notifications, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, before we start, I want to give a shout out to the Discord. Members are absolutely crushing it, making a ton of money, great energy, amazing members, and again, a ton of engagement. So if you're interested in joining a winning team, again, it's completely free. All we ask for is your engagement, your time, willing to learn. Again, shoot me a message, drop a comment in the section below, and maybe we'll open it one more time. Now, getting into the first stock here, we have ticker CRDL. We called out the video yesterday. Big news came, a massive gap up here, as we could see from yesterday. I believe it was 104 close. And then again, the volume is insane, not only on the weekly, but specifically the daily here, which again is traded about 3 million shares, which is huge, right? The 3-month average daily volume is right around maybe 120,000, give or take. So when we go all the way back, the last time it's been above 3 million was here, and that's when it traded 6 million shares on November 3rd of 2021. So it's almost been, again, pretty much like 2.5 years, a little less than that, what we're seeing in terms of that daily volume. So there's a lot of buyer interest, demand, and again, volume as well. The main line here in which we talked about my previous video, I mentioned it was like somewhere around that 136 range, but I honestly think it's better to put it right there, right? We had this cluster before it sort of took that leg down, right? Going all the way back from June, the end of June, pretty much to the beginning of August here, where it starts to break down, it retests, it's a lower high, second, third, fourth, fifth, right, sixth, and then this whole cluster just pushes it down until it has to ultimately test the lower demand zone or all-time lows. It then reverses, bulls step in, they accumulate, right? They push it higher, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? Pretty much in that sequence going all the way from April to again August. So we get out of that distribution back into accumulation, and then pretty much where we are here right now, we're coming back to that same level of resistance. So again, just to map it out, right? We saw this cluster here, which it got rejected, right? And now again, pretty much the same thing. Now it is significant because look at the drop, right? All the way from the top here was like 145. I think it touched in pre-market, dropped 34% within 9 trading days. That's definitely significant. It's not something we want to ignore. And again, just to paint the picture a little better for you, right? 146 here. And then again, what you don't see because it's extended hours, right? You don't see is pre-market touched that 145 nearly to perfection and then got ripped right back down 21% within a few hours. So clearly, 100%, this is our supply zone, 145, 146. If you have to be specific, like a 10-cent range, like 140 to 150 is like super hot. We break out of 150, I think we have a smooth sail to like $2. Okay, CRDL, massive volume, has not been this high since, again, all the way back to the end of 2021. Definitely keep it on your radar. But again, be smart. Make sure to secure profits, right? We called this out at 98 cents, right as it dipped that one last time. Pretty much rode it all the way up here, pretty much 39-40% from where we're at. And then again, the initial call out, 98 cents. And then we put it all the way to the high. I think it was 145, 146, nearly a 50% run. So 50% up, rinse and repeat, and then another pop all the way back up to 140. Definitely keep it on your radar, ticker CRDL. Next is ticker PODC, PodcastOne. A lot of positivity surrounding this stock. They are cash flow positive, very tight cap structure. I think like 20 million in the OS. Great management and amazing board of directors here and people running the show behind the scenes. They have no debt, and they had $6 million worth of convertible notes exercised at $3 a share. As you can see, the stock is about 40% down from where it is there. So that's again about a 60% upside just to get to that level, showing conviction, showing that people really believe in the stock long term. That's a great sign. Like I mentioned in my previous video, the company is going to do a buyback. I believe they're going to designate about $4 million to buying back PODC. I believe the other $6 million is going to the parent company, LVO, and then they are going to retire that stock completely, take it off the market, which is only going to make that cap structure even more tight. Now, we just saw on the analytics here, just looking at the board, they are top 10 in terms of these streaming platforms. That is fantastic. We definitely love to see the company growth, sentiment growth as well. They have IP, a ton of things here. Again, I'm not going to go into that. You could check out the previous video there. But all we need to know in terms of the technicals is where we have the supply zone or resistance. Now, it's pretty much from $1.90 all the way to 215. So anything above $1.90 is like very hot, right? They always want to knock the stock down. By they, I mean sellers. I don't know if it's someone shorting specifically, but really 215 to again 190, that 25-cent range is pretty much where it's hot. So again, this goes all the way back from the beginning of December here. It gets pushed down, back up, rip back down, back up again, rip down, right? As you could see the trend, right? Every time it touches there, it gets yanked down, right? Time and time again. I mean, pretty much if you just look at the past, February of trading, it's all been in this range, and the same exact thing has happened, right? So if we look just in this cluster, how many times, once, twice, three, four, five, six daily prints, pretty much in the past 2 weeks of getting above 190, then getting yanked down. Now, for me, I'm not worried about it, right? This is completely fine. I would love for the stock to just consolidate, stay flat, get an opportunity to build size here, go long, and again, get that dollar cost average as low as humanly possible. Okay, so I'm not in a rush for every stock, right? You're going to see a bunch of different tickers in different sectors at different stages of their business growth, right? I think this has a ton of potential. I think this will easily be a double up, in my opinion. It's just going to take a little time, right? It's not super liquid, right? Only 6,000 shares traded today, but that's okay. At some point, it will. Next, I'm going to talk about ticker WULF. TeraWulf, been very vocal about this since the beginning. Up and down, crazy swings from 60 cents up to $4, back down to $1, up to $3. And now we're on this really nice run. Bitcoin's exploding. Crypto sector and minings is super, super hot. But again, we have to pay attention to the key levels. So I like the top here. That's around 318. I'm just going to call it 325 to really ensure that we get on that north side and break out. We don't want to go like 318, 320, 321, and then it just slaps down after 2 or 3 cents. We want to make sure we really clear that. So 325 is going to be the high of the run, pretty much going to the end of 23. Now, the other main level would be right there, okay? And this, again, we got knocked all the way down from 320 down to 179, and then it popped all the way up from that low, which was about 40%. So this was the second attempt to try and retest the top here and explode. It didn't have the juice, and really, really fast, within 6 trading days, the stock fell about 51%. So this is a huge level, right? The top was 246. Okay, now we come back, or we go all the way down here, we rebuild, and then we get to that same point again, and it gets knocked down. But this time, it's much weaker of a knockdown. Still significant, right? It still fell about 17% in one trading day. And again, the high was 248, 246 here, and then it got slammed down almost 20%. So clearly 246, 250, just that whole number there. I don't know what the psychological part of it, if it's a trigger or something, but definitely a hot area in this section. Push down once, push down twice. We clearly see some correlation there. And what's really interesting, again, we look at the price. What's the price trading at, right? 246. Again, looking at the fibs, right? The top line here is 270, as we could see very clearly, 270. Where do we go today? The high, 273, and then it got smashed all the way back down, pretty much right to that line that we just mentioned at 245, 246. So again, the lines, the technicals are working very, very well here on TeraWulf. All we're going to look for is simple, 250, 270, right? These fib lines are great. The top here, 317, I think it was like 321 in pre-market, so we look for 325 to make sure we break, and then pretty much the top there at $4, which again is going back to the summer of 23. Okay, from there we'll adjust, but let's just take it one step at a time. Ticker Wolf, great stock. Certainly keep it on your radar going into the halving. Could be an absolute monster. Next, we have COYA, which I've been screaming about on social media. All-time highs is coming. It wants it. Finally, it broke. This was crazy resistance going all the way back from May of 23, it touched $8. Then again, it touched 8. A third time, it touched 8. A fourth time, and finally, it broke. But again, as you could see, shorts and just natural selling pressure, knocking it down back to 768. They don't want it to close above 8. 8 is super, super hot in this range. And again, it's very understandable why, but really pretty price action here. Volume is going up on COYA. This trade's very, very thin, as you can see, going back, 20, 30,000, maybe even 10,000 shares a day. Now that has gone up 5, 10x, in this past month. So volume, again, going up tremendously, and also the price action as well. So increased price, all-time high, liquidity is going up, buying demand, all great signs here. Okay, as you could see, really nice volume spikes going back all the way from December, and then pretty much there. Right, we've had some sporadic movements, but very, very healthy price action, right? Ton of correlation from when the price makes a real positive move to when the volume spikes. And again, we just love to observe that direct relationship, right? Every single time the price takes a big move, the volume follows. That's healthy. That's strong. That's showing that, again, buying demand, buying volume is there. It's a bullish interpretation. Definitely keep COYA on watch. Next is Gain Therapeutics, GANX. Super pretty chart, extremely textbook here in terms of like the stair stepping up, higher highs, higher lows. I think this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar acquisition. I think a big boy is going to acquire this company. It makes sense. The data is incredible, super tight cap structure, incredible team on the board of directors and management. I mean, you can't say good enough things about Gain. We called this out, I think, at 246, 248. We tried time in the bottom. We knew that that was never going to be possible to get the exact penny, but we were just waiting and waiting and waiting very patiently. Finally, it hits the demand. It takes the pop. It again pulls back. We alert it somewhere in this range, and then it just absolutely explodes. Okay, Gain is a monster here. This thing is up. I think it was up like 120% within less than 40 trading days, and then where it is now, pretty much up 95% from our alert. Gain, again, a monster play here. I mentioned this. I'm going to say it again. I think it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar acquisition. The big boys are going to acquire this business. The data is there. It makes sense. The board of directors, everything surrounding this company screams undervalued. And who knows, maybe it gets acquired for multiples of this price, 5, 10, 20x. That's why we invest in biotechs. Again, leave a comment in the section below if you've ever invested in a stock that's been bought out at multiples of the price. I would love to hear which ones. That happens a lot in biotechs. People, again, get very, very lucky. Next is going to be SURG Pays. Again, a monster call out here. We alerted this right before the earnings. It was like maybe $5 and change, 510, 505. I don't remember exactly where. And then from there, just pretty much ripped 80%. It's holding super well. We saw they did a 15 million raise at 560. That was the sell-off. And then again, just got absolutely absorbed and ripped right back up to new highs. What's really impressive with SURG Pays is that we have not seen this price trade in this range in a very long time. I mean, when we go all the way back, look at how much empty space, right? We have not seen the price action close or really trade, like we said, above this level, pretty much going back from April, May of 2021. Okay, that's nearly 3 years of the price, again, being vacant in terms of this range, right? It's only traded below. Now we're finally starting to break out, and we're holding well, and we're continuing to see that liquidity go up, right? Not only that, there's a big short here as well. I'm sure they're panicking. Surge makes sense. It's cash flow positive. They had a strategic partnership. This was the first raise since IPO. Very, very tight cap structure. Everything, again, makes sense here in terms of this stock. I have a $10 price target. I'm sure that's going to get hit very soon. And from there, no pun intended, it could certainly, surge up without a question once we crack that double digits. Okay, another one, just definitely keep it on your radar. I think it was also the best EPS in company history the last time we reported it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know in the comment section below. Please share and repost this link. I would greatly appreciate it. Any comments, questions, concerns, I would love to answer them. And like I mentioned before, if you want to join the Discord, please leave a comment. If I don't get back to you, let me know in the Twitter DMs, and I would happily send out another link. But again, that's it for me. Enjoy the weekend, guys. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.